Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. We're taking another look here again at Solana. It did retest that most recent high here at about 189. It's a rough estimate. Very, very close to breaking that level, but of course pulled back because Bitcoin has done so as well. Also been on the overextended side. We're going to talk about liquidation levels and a few of the key factors. Try to make this brief here for the weekend for you folks so you can get on with your life. But I do want to say thanks again to my community members for some wonderful feedback for our premium trades here. Took some nice profits from what was the ICP. There's CASPA 30%, near protocol short 48%. Basically, these are all shorts minus the CASPA long. We've got a BNB and there was a Solana in here too as well. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, so again, didn't catch as much profit as we wanted to because we got in and out on the downside. And honestly, waiting for confirmation of the upside, missed a few opportunities. Totally normal. Expect that to happen a lot, folks. It's okay. It's okay to miss some opportunities. But FOMO is a very real thing. I get it. So, try not to worry about it. We'll catch the next one. But the truth is, I'd much rather wait for an opportunity that's better, that fits my parameters, than try to force a trade. So, again, a lot of people had forced trades recently. But if you take a look at this here, this is actually something that was forced too for the shorts. Look at this, some late shorts and recent shorts. Basically, after the most recent high there at roughly about 184, 183, we saw heavy liquidation levels, 1, 2, 3, roughly about $4 billion liquidation at 185. So remember, folks, we talked about this yesterday. It's important when a price action gets super, super close to liquidation levels. While double tops and triple tops, those things do exist, and they do have a tendency of pushing the price action back down. The liquidation at those levels generally will be swept before that occurs. Okay, so right now what we're seeing is a liquidity sweep at that 185 to 187 mark, and the price action is pulling back naturally as a result of securing profits and destroying a bunch of shorts. Okay, again, it's really, really common in the industry, so that's why we like to look at it. It doesn't mean it's 100% guarantee it's going to happen. It just tells us that, generally speaking, it's a common characteristic in trading. Okay, so do we jump into a long position right now at this point? Short answer is no, because you don't want to FOMO into the top, right? We can already see what happened to those who just got in, the breakout traders at 185, 186, or 187. They're either break even right now or they're in the red because they tried to get that breakout. Again, breakouts on weekends are unique and weird. Me personally, I prefer not to trade them. Some people dislike that I don't trade on weekends, but it's less common. I will still send out signals occasionally, but when we have a pump going into the weekend like this, for example, it's hard to want to just jump right in. We're right at the top of a lot of different resistance ranges, okay? Okay, having said that, let's take a quick look at the daily time frame. So daily time frame, we can see here, we are below 70, still got some room for growth. So further upside does make sense. Stochastic RSI, it got stopped out here. Bitcoin is converging, where stochastic here on the daily for Solana is not. It really doesn't mean there's doom and gloom for us per se. It just implies that if we can't close above 185, there's a solid chance we'll see the price pull back, which is a good thing to me personally. I'd love to see a cup and handle pattern type of form or play out form, because you can kind of see this cup here, and a lot of times it'll come back down to retest more recent levels, specifically this 0.618, 0.65, the golden pocket. We'll talk about that in a minute, but everything else looks pretty solid here. Daily time frame is still very good, okay? But again, it does not mean you just blindly take a long position because we are bullish on the daily. Let's take a quick look. 4-hour time frame. This is confirming a few support levels. Now, again, I had this. This is from my playout chart from yesterday. You can see it didn't play out the way we wanted it to. Right? Would have been nice to get that 0.618 fib level there, bounce off 178 to the upside, and Bob's your uncle. You just let it ride. At this point, now that we're up at this level, it makes no sense to try to get in because we're already topped out. When you look at 2D sequential here, we're at a 9+2, so we're at 11 4-hour candles. We're 44 hours of continuation in the same direction without retracement. Okay. It's important to recognize that most continuations only last 72 hours on average, and those are usually with small periods of consolidation between. So in other words, 36 and 36, you're generally going to see those two types of trends. At this point, we don't see that here. We just see a straight up with no retracement and no correction, leading me to believe that we will see a correction. Okay, will it be massive? Will it be strong? Hard to say. We look at this volume here. The volume is very low, all things considered. In order to have got it here, to break through this resistance, of course, we had a high volume, but now that we're here, we're seeing low volume. That just doesn't spell sustainability. Okay, so overextensions and low volume, to me, that implies reversal. Okay, so I'm speculating this will happen. We're just going to go ahead and pull it out a little further and kind of wait for it to get back down a little bit lower before we take our next long. I do not recommend taking a short to that level. Just generally speaking, I try not to short Solana. While we did one once here recently, that's the first time I shorted Solana like over a year. I think I have PTSD, honestly, from shorting Solana in the past, and I can tell you that it's not the kind of coin you want to kind of bet against, right? You're more likely to find success going up. Either way, having said all that, let's look at the 4-hour time frame. We're also kind of topped out close to 70 on the RSI. Unless we break through that key level resistance, we have to presume the price will pull back to naturally retrace. Money flow index is high. You got to recognize that. High MFI does imply the price isn't going to just turn right around. And what this is telling us in the last 14 candles, the average amount of money flowing in now is higher than it was 14 candles ago. So it's a kind of an average, which is great to know because it tells us that this level here is likely hit or stay. The probability of the price action for Solana coming down to sub 170, I think is very low. To me, though, 178 has always been that point of contention. It's that golden pocket that hasn't been retested yet. It would make a tremendous amount of sense for that level to be retested before it takes off. Okay. Again, I'm hopeful we're going to get that pullback. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. But once more, as I've described many times here so far, it's best not to FOMO into the top and wait for a better trade that may never happen. Okay. Again, there's no guarantees. But I can tell you it's going to be glorious if it does happen because it'll be exactly what you want it to be, right? And that's a different strategy altogether. So me personally, I might analyze 10 to 15 different coins, deep analyzations like this, surface level, a few others as well. And in that overall sentiment there, I might find one or two decent opportunities. I set my alerts, and if they don't happen, I continue to do the same thing over and over again. Again, it might seem like a lot of work, which is true, but it generally leads to a very high level of success. And that relatively, somewhere in the 80-85% range, which would be, the likelihood of hitting a target, right? Again, it could be lower if I took more trades, but I prefer not to. Anyways, conversation for another day. Hourly time frame, Ichimoku Cloud. Everything's looking good here, but we got to recognize the lagging span's getting closer to the price action, just implying that we are getting close to, this little uptrend, turning itself around or slowing down. So once more, I recommend not shorting this coin while it's likely the price will pull back to at least 181 or 178. I would much rather take a long there with confidence than to short into that level. Okay, so I think I probably said about 5 different ways. So I need to reiterate certain things because folks, I tell you what, they hear what they want to hear when they're watching these videos. And unfortunately, while I love helping people with my community and getting people on track, it sucks to hear that you get destroyed because you're just making these crazy, ridiculous moves with high leverage. You're just jumping in and out whenever you feel like it. You should have a game plan every time you take a trade. And if you don't know what your game plan is, don't do it. Really, that's all there is to it. Anyways, when I leave the house, I have a sense of direction, right? I know where I'm going to go. I have actually a goal in mind. I do that with my trades too. I'm not sure if you're just the kind of person who just arbitrarily start walking around without direction, but if you are, that's essentially the equivalent of taking a trade without knowing what you want out of it. Anyways, those are all things that I teach in my Trading Academy Community Signals group. Quick reference too here as well. I have trade alerts now, which are very, very beneficial. In fact, these things are so successful that other communities are copying them. Yeah. So again, it is definitely one of those things. So that's why you start seeing me having my my logo up here now, because I have to protect my work, at least within reason. Again, also for the future reference, we do have live charts here. I update those weekly, generally on the weekend, and they're more macro analysis. So in other words, kind of bigger picture movements. Either way, I deeply appreciate you watching. Thanks so much again for that. Thank you too to Bigonix for providing an awesome opportunity to our community members. Excellent rewards if you use my link to register. We use these guys exclusively as a community, and we're super thankful to have them on board and essentially have the opportunity at no KYC or VPN required exchange to have that at our fingertips. It's a really nice feature, especially those in the US and Canada. Either way, I greatly appreciate you. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you next one. Take care.